Back again, of course, Subaru Engine number 3 Teardown from Donut Media. If you haven't seen the high-low season, it was like, jeez. They bought like 3 Subarus and like 5 engines or something.
What happens when your car is going 100 miles an hour in one direction and then you accidentally all of a sudden start going backwards? Well, we did that, and in addition to breaking some of our suspension and bending our subframe, now our engine doesn't work.
So what happened inside the engine during the crash? We really don't know.
But we do know that it's broken. Today, we're going to tear this engine apart to see what really happened. I'm very curious, and I hope you are too. I'm Zach, this is Justin.
Welcome to Donut.
Welcome.
Oh, it is a
Let's
Subaru.
look at the evidence that we do have. We were not here when this engine was pulled by Adam and Roberto, so we're going to watch this video to see the last time it was ever turned over. Oh. Oh.
Yeah, there's a bit of a rhythm to that. It sounds pretty bad.
That sounds awful. That's
Got
scary.
some thoughts. Just like you were doing the punching, I think we got some pistons maybe punching some valves.
I'm thinking it's a cam.
It could be. I mean, something in there that's spinning is running into something else.
Yes, exactly.
We'll see.
Zach, what's our next piece of evidence?
Oh. Okay, so as the car's going off, you hear a lot of rocks getting kicked around, but then for a split second, you hear like a
Grinding noise.
Yeah. First thing that sounds like to me is the timing belt, you know, skipping teeth on the timing gears.
Yeah. That's
I need a little more evidence. We need to hear it from the horse's mouths. Luckily, Jeremiah and James were in the car, and they're in the building today.
So I blacked this memory out of my brain, but I was driving the car.
I was coaching James. I told him, James, you can go flat out right here, baby.
He's like, send it, dude. Don't lift, don't lift, don't lift.
Don't lift. So he's not lifting coming into here, and then what happens is
I lift.
he lifts real hard.
And in an all-wheel drive car, when you lift,
Yep.
you spin.
You spin a little bit. Yeah, it's called lift off oversteer. So when you're full on the gas, you lift off the accelerator, the car wants to rotate upon that lift off. And when it does that, it broke traction, right? So it's breaking traction, breaking traction. At this point, James is just like, Jesus, take the wheel. And we start sliding sideways, very scary.
So this is the point in the GoPro footage where you guys are looking wrong.
Yeah, this is where we're starting to turn.
So at this point, I should have had the clutch in, and I didn't.
Didn't. So we hit that going sideways, caught airborne, and like James was saying, he didn't clutch in. So when he didn't clutch in, this landed, boom, this wheel rotated in the opposite direction. It went backwards. It also pancaked that wheel completely. There it is. Yeah.
Well, with this new information, it sounds like there's a chance we might have spun the old engine backwards.
Not only did I wrecked wrong.
So what does that even mean?
Yeah, what does that mean?
Backwards.
Good question.
Now, in general, an engine is designed to run in one direction, and the timing components are designed with that in mind. Technically, an engine can handle the crankshaft being spun the opposite way, but the tensioner that tensions your timing belt is designed to keep tension on the belt in the other or the correct direction. That means that spinning it backwards can cause slack in the timing belt, which can result in skipping of teeth or eject the belt altogether.
This is a big time problem on interference engines or engines whose valves and pistons can run into each other if the engine is out of time.
Now, when James was spinning out, he forgot to engage the clutch. So, with the car's momentum now moving backwards, the wheels may have moved in reverse by the shock of the crash. If the wheels spun the wrong way, so did the drive shaft, the transmission, and in turn, the crankshaft. If this is really what happened, with that large jolt of force, in theory, we can pretty much guarantee that we would have skipped timing.
All this talk about timing is getting my knuckles tingling. Let's stop talking and get diagnosing, starting by uncovering the timing belt of this EJ25.
Yeah, Justin, I just noticed something.
Yeah.
There's a hole where there ought not be a hole in this here timing belt cover. So we're gonna start taking this off and see what we uncover.
You ready, Zach?
Yeah, let's see it.
Oh,
Oh, crap. Oh, wow, dude, that just is shattered.
Maybe it wasn't gravel we heard.
Yeah, maybe not. Sucks. But the timing belt is, I think, in one piece still, which is pretty impressive. I would have expected the belt to shred before the gear, but wow, that's crazy.
That is the side that the car impacted on, so maybe the shock had something to do with it.
Yeah,
who
maybe.
knows? But it didn't hit the frame or anything like that, so.
I have never seen anything like this before. I mean, I guess it makes sense just trying to change direction so fast that your cam gear just turns into 100 pieces. First, when I saw this hole, I thought, nah, who knows what happened? Maybe a rock jumped up from the ground and went into the timing cover. But I think it's pretty clear that the opposite is what happened. This hole was made from the inside out. When the cam gear came apart, it took some of the cover with it. Honestly, I'm surprised it didn't do more.
Theory narrowing time.
The engine's out of time. It's an interference engine, so I'm pretty sure valves and pistons were kissing. But I want to see it. I want to see where they kissed. So we're going to keep taking this thing apart and see what we find.
It's not only just broken pieces, it's a lot of dirt too.
Man, I would not want to own a Subaru, man.
All four.
I need
spark plugs
reliability. I know they're reliable, but still.
means the tune was good as well.
Make note of what I'm touching here. This is an oil pan, and an aftermarket one at that, with an increased capacity and baffling to keep oil where it needs to be so you don't starve the bearings on these engines. We've had this oil pan on every engine we used in high-low, and it still didn't save us.
All right, so on Subarus, in order to get cam gears off, you have to get special tools. This way, the cam gear doesn't spin with the cam, so you can actually loosen all the bolts.
Yep, just a big old tool to hold it still. Get the big gun. Okay, you want to give it a heave?
Yep, 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1.
Yep, busted the socket.
Nice.
Sweet tools. Justin strikes again. This engine is trash anyway, so Justin is going to manually remove that cam gear. You better watch out. You guys got safety glasses on? Yeah! Now that's fun. You're basically worse than wrecking a Subaru at 100 miles an hour. Okay, well, the cams appear to be in one piece. I mean, we've got some pretty good wear there, but, you know, nothing too crazy. It looks pretty straight, but... Yank that head!
But yeah, there's a lot of scoring. There was a lot of contact. That's probably why this didn't want to come off. This is where that cam gear was.
The busted one.
And having this metal sheared like that would definitely cause it not to spin properly.
Yeah, got a little bit of clang in there.
Theory confirmed time.
If you look at the top of the pistons, you can see what looks like a little bit of contact from the edges of the valves on the intake side. Not as much as I was expecting. I was expecting to see hammered pistons and bent valves. Get a look at the valves. Interesting. They look fine? Yeah, they look fine.
Yeah, they're
Totally
fine.
fine.
Huh.
So what was the boxing noise?
I guess it was just junk in the timing belt area. That is what is confusing to me, because that sounded like engine part hitting engine part.
Yeah.
But you know what? I can't leave an apple half eaten.
Yeah. Theory busting time.
So it doesn't look like we've had significant contact between the pistons and valves, but sometimes looks can be deceiving. So we're gonna go over a couple ways that you can check for bent valves if you have an engine taken apart this far. First, we're gonna do a little leak test with some water. We've got this little area here where our valves are sitting. We're gonna fill this up with water, and then we're gonna shoot compressed air into the exhaust side and into the intake side and see if any bubbles make it out around the valves. If they do, that indicates a leaky, possibly bent valve. I've got my nice little tool here, which is a piece of wood that I cut and put a hole in. That's gonna help us seal up the side, jam some air in there, and check for leaks. So let's see what we get. The puppy's covered up. Okay, we'll start on the exhaust side. All right. Okay, no bubbles on the exhaust side. Let's check the intake side. Oh, ooh. there's a little bit of bubbles there.
Looks like we did have some contact.
We might have had some real light contact. Even though it didn't look very bad, we got some bubbles coming around one of the intake valves, which indicates leaking. The other way you can check for bent valves is to take them out of the head and look at them. So what we're going to do here is use our valve spring compressor tool. Basically a big C-clamp that moves like this, so you can squish down the valve spring so that you can get the keepers out and pop the valve out. So there's our retainer and spring, and here's our valve. Now, you got to keep in mind that the amount of air that we saw leaking past this valve was pretty minimal and doesn't indicate a really bad bend. So just at a glance, this thing looks okay, but that doesn't mean it is. Let's throw this in a drill and spin it and see if we can see any oscillation.
Drill.
And even then, if we can't really see much of a bend, that doesn't mean that there isn't a slight bend that's causing it to seat just ever so slightly improperly.
Ooh, just a little wobble.
Just a hair, just a tiny little wobble to it. Now, just to see what a good, totally straight valve looks like, I'm going to pull out one of the exhaust valves that didn't get any contact, and we'll spin that, and you'll see that it just looks true, where that had just a slight hitch in its giddy up. It should be spinning dead straight. And it is. There's absolutely no wobble to that tip. That is a good valve.
Theory confirming time. So just as we expected, when your timing belt goes bad in an interference motor, there are unwanted interactions in between the pistons and the valves. And we couldn't see this before because it was so minute. And by doing this water test, we see that the valves are actually bent, which the motor would have been able to run if we had just fixed the timing, but it wouldn't have ran as efficient as it should have.
That's right. And bent valve never gets better.
No.
So honestly, I expected it was going to be a lot worse. While we did turn the car around and the engine was forced to spin backwards, we kind of got lucky with what happened. The cam gear exploded, which caused us to lose timing altogether, which honestly saved most of the parts of this engine. I don't think they designed it to do that, but it worked. We got lucky on that day.
Well, my curiosity has been satisfied.
Me too. Oh yeah.
And I hope yours has been too. I also hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe. Check out our website. Check out our merch. Y'all have a good one.
See ya. All right, now put it back together, huh?
No. With what? We've broken everything.
Well, I not really much to say other than I would buy a blob eye, but it's 10K, so I'm like, no thank you. But there are some cheap options, but I do want a turbocharged one, or at least a 2.5 liter. Yeah, I'm an Evo guy, but I still love Subis. Bye.